Today, Fun with Flowers and Jay is brought to you by Kreisel USA.
And the Garcia Group.
Welcome to the world of flowers. I'm Jay Schwanke. I've spent my entire life surrounded by flowers. As a fourth-generation florist, flowers have been a part of my daily life for as long as I can remember. Now I'm on a mission to share my knowledge and love of flowers with everyone I meet. Growing, picking, arranging, designing, and sharing. It's all fascinating to me because I love flowers. Anything flowers and everything flowers. Welcome to Fun with Flowers and Jay. Today, on Fun with Flowers and Jay, we're submerging flowers and showing you the tips and tricks for creating these fast and easy arrangements. Creating submerged flower arrangements is easy, and there's a few tips and tricks you should know for getting the very best results. One of the greatest things about submerging flowers is we increase the size of the flower once it's underwater. The other thing that's important to remember is using different shaped glass vases. You've got a whole variety of things that you can choose from, and it's easy because one flower can be enough for an entire centerpiece. So let's talk about a few things that we need to create submerged flower arrangements. Number one, we need clear, clean water. Don't add flower nutrient to your water because it will cause the flowers to degrade quicker. Using distilled water can sometimes be helpful for extreme clarity. Another thing to remember about it is using something that allows your water to stay clear. Kreisel CBVN tablets are ideal for this. It controls bacteria in the water and helps keep it clear. One tablet treats 3 to 4 quarts of water. So one tablet inside any of these vases is going to be plenty for us to help it last longer. So let's talk about lasting quality. This is a really fun project and the results are incredible, but they don't last a long time. So you just need to be aware of that. You're putting plant material underwater, and what happens after about 18 hours is the water's going to start to cloud. You can color the water with food coloring, and that's a fun effect. And it will also help cover up the cloudiness that might occur over time. One other thing that's a secret to this are the flower frogs. You need a flower frog to weigh down the flowers. Flowers naturally float on their own, so using a flower frog is going to make sure that the flower stays underwater. So let's get started and we'll create a bunch of different submerged flowers. It's a fun thing for you to do, and you're going to see that the results are exciting. One of the things I told you was that flowers get bigger when we're creating a submerged arrangement. It's not really actually that the flowers themselves get bigger, but that the water magnifies them. We've placed this rose in a flower frog, and now we'll add water. It's the flower frog that holds the rose in place and prevents it from floating to the top of the container. You'll notice, as I add the water, that the reflective quality makes the rose look bigger through the side of the glass. Look at how great that starts to look with those bubbles on the center of that rose. It's really beautiful. We can also use stones like this to cover up where our flower frog is. So in this case, we can add a beautiful sunflower. Then we can scoot the rocks around our flower frog to help cover up the mechanics. The flower frog is actually part of what makes this whole thing work. So I really don't mind seeing them. But if you want to conceal them, that's cool too. Those leaves look great under the water. And it adds a whole nother dimension have those stones down there. Gives it kind of a peaceful Zen type look. Now sometimes the flower itself can be super interesting. This is an allium from my backyard, and it's going to look great inside that cylinder. We're going to cut it off short. We're going to make sure that the stem hits one of the needles on the pin frog when we're inserting it in to the flower frog. It almost touches the walls of that vase. Now we just add water. Something like this Canterbury bell can also take on the look of a specimen in a curiosity case. I want to make sure that I don't damage the flower when I'm pouring the water into the vase. So trying to hit the side of the container rather than pouring it right on top of the flower is ideal. Now we don't necessarily have to always use flowers. We could use foliage or pods. In this case, we can create something really fun using scabiosa pods and a piece of foliage. Sometimes the container itself can be just as exciting as the flowers. In this case, we have an apothecary jar, and we'll use half a stem of beautiful Cymbidium orchids. Now maybe you don't have access to a flower frog, so let me show you another alternative for using a different mechanic inside our bubble bowl. We'll use some flat wire. You can get this at a flower supply store or a craft store. Many times it's used for jewelry, but in this case, we'll use it as a mechanic inside our bubble bowl. We'll twist it and just give it some great little interesting folds and turns. And put it down inside our bubble bowl. I always test it out first to make sure that it's going to fit in there and everything's going to be okay. With this one, we'll use some Clematis. I love the Clematis from Roseville Farms because it's so interesting and it's so easy to work with. It's very durable and it's delicate. So I'm cutting it short, and we're going to weave it into the apparatus we just made with the flat wire. What's going to happen is the wire is going to help hold those flowers in place. The great little tendrils on the Clematis blossoms are going to catch on that wire, and that's going to help hold the flowers in place. Then we pick up the whole piece and place it inside our bubble bowl. This is a little bit like building a ship in a bottle, but the results are going to be wonderful. Now, to add an extra dimension to this, we can add an acolyte. That's the submersible acolyte. And notice how it adds reflective quality to our flowers. So let's combine some techniques into one final submerged arrangement. We have a hurricane vase with a lid. We've got our flower frog. We've got some beautiful pincushion protea. I love these because they look like they're under the sea type flowers. We'll use some kangaroo paw, and we'll conceal it using some stones. We'll add a CBVN tablet to ensure the bacteria doesn't build up in the water quickly. We'll drop in a couple of the acolytes. So you see how much fun you can have with flowers? Especially when you submerge them, and you know the tricks to arranging flowers underwater. Until next time, keep having fun with flowers.